Candy's got a new boat for the camper. What do you think of it? What do you think?
I love it. Now we don't have to shore fish.
And you got some tomatillos.
Yeah, I started them, but just like my peppers, they fail.
Everywhere you go in this state, literally everywhere, whether you're going to Walmart or camping, there's a river or a lake somewhere, close by somewhere. So, without having to drag a trailer with us or take a full-size kayak, we've been sort of looking for a two-person raft or a kayak, which is what I have here, for convenience sake. Just to be able to get a bin, deflate it and put it in the back seat of the truck. Just to have with us, just to have something with us to get out on the water, be it a lake or a river. And we saw this at Fleet Farm, and it was less than $300. Now, having looked online, for gosh, all winter long, pretty much, and Costco, and most of the spring too, and other places, most everything we've seen was over $500. So I immediately saw this at Fleet Farm. There was only two of them laying there, and I thought, there's no cell service inside of Fleet Farm. So I went outside and I looked on Amazon and I looked these up, and they get a 4.5-star rating with almost 5,000 reviews, and this was less than $300. So I thought, well, hell's bells, we'll be able to go camping and bring a boat with us, albeit inflatable boat. Something is always better than nothing, right? I mean, you could put your waders on, which I plan on doing. I'm going to start taking waders with me too, and wade out into the rivers, lakes, and streams. But now I'll have the option of having a two-person kayak. Now this, for the record, is 3-ply high-impact and abrasive-resistant material, 3-chamber construction, spring-loaded high-pressure valves for quick inflation-deflation, I-beam floor for rigidity, integrated drain plug, detached and adjustable GoPro camera mount. Hey, how about that? Easily clicks into the accessory base. That's kind of neat. I didn't even know that. Standard shallow directional skegs, whatever that is. Portable kayak backpack. Oh, it comes with a backpack. And a repair and patch kit is included. So it's got about everything. We're talking less than $300 here, right? So let's have a look. That is at least one of the paddles. This is an inflator. That's kind of cool. They give you that to blow the boat up with. Here's another paddle. This must be the backpack to carry your... I know, this is cool. This is just a camper's dream. I think I'm going to take my ship with me. You put your ship in here. First, you got to, make sure it's all folded up, which could probably be a pain in the butt. There's an accessory box here. That's it for that. You put your ship in here. Yeah, I like that. I didn't expect that. Items like this, like I said, there was only 2 of these left. Items like this, they sell out so fast here. We get a lot of tourists, and a lot of people say, hey, I didn't think of that, when they see it, and boom, it's gone. Kind of like I did, except I'm not a tourist. The backpack is rugged, feels sturdy. It doesn't feel cheap. This is it's like a patch kit that came with it, an owner's manual in here. And this obviously is the boat. Let's look to see what the accessory package has here. This is double quick high output air pump patch kit. And you know, it's typical, the directions are in several different languages. Okay, apparently this is only to check the air pressure, and it has nothing to do with the inflation, and this just hooks right into the boat. It doesn't tell you that in the manual. I guess they figure you probably, if you bought a boat like this, you're a smart guy, right? So there might be a couple of chambers here.
Here in the well garden, I'm fully caught up. Nothing's planted in here yet. What's growing back is my daylilies that I was going to separate this year, but I just don't have the time. So maybe next year, because they can be somewhat invasive. But I like them in here. It gives something for this corner to have, because you know, we all know that nature abhors a absence, and that's why weeds will just grow where nothing else is if you're not growing something. I got a lot of volunteer columbine here, so I'm going to leave that here. This is here. So it'll be kind of hard to weed. It's hard for me to be vicious and just get rid of a plant that I know is going to grow pretty. But I need to start doing that more and more, because I am my own worst enemy here in the gardens, because I'll see something and I'll go, oh, I got to have that grow there. And then I got to weed around it, and as time goes on, sometimes I just don't get to it. But nonetheless, we got my false indigos finally coming up. I feel like we're 2 to 3 weeks behind. It's still cool at night. We only have about 90, maybe to 100 days of actual planting outside. You know, for the warm weather vegetables, we're talking, you know, carrots and things like that, cabbage, spinach, they love the cool weather. But tomatoes and squash and things like that do not. So we don't plant those out into the gardens until June 5th. And that's about when we're finally going to get in the 50s at night, 60s and 70s during the day. And that's fine by me. That's the schedule. So, other than that, rhubar's really looking good. I got straw on the perimeter. So, try to keep the weeds down. Yes, I'm still going to get weeds, but they're easier to pull, because sometimes they'll live in the straw instead of in the ground, so you just the roots are easier to get up, especially the deep root ones like plantain and dandelions. My volunteer, every time I grow garlic, I must miss several cloves or bulbs of garlic, because next spring it just comes right back. But I'm going to leave that in here. I'm testing it in another garden. I separated it, and I'm planting them to see if they'll actually grow nice bulbs. And if that happens, then I won't ever have to plant a lot of the garlic every fall. Still got to get this pipe out. That well, it had a issue last year, and it took about 6 months for them to fix it, because we had such a population growth up here, and it was an item that they just didn't get to till later, because you know, it wasn't a big project. So the sucker pipes here, right where they screw together, a hole occurred, because we got really, as you can see, rusty water, and so it wasn't getting any pressure. But it's back up and running now. As I said, the rhubar's doing really good. It's already going to flower. My goal was to separate them again. I was just too busy doing too many things. It's fine, but you still can eat. You know, you don't eat the leaves, because the leaves are poisonous. You eat the stalk. State Fair apple trees looking real good. The good thing about this year is we did have somewhat of mild frost, but it was really early before everything started blooming, so we didn't have a lot of loss of flowering. But that's really gotten big this year. Cherry tree, a couple years ago, it grew so rapidly, it cracked. And we can only grow basically sour cherries here. But they are sweet, they're not like puckers, but they're not the super big sweet ones you would find in the grocery stores where other places can grow them. Our growing season is just too short here, so most of the fruit we have here is very tiny. I'm gonna let some of these cherry suckers come up to see if the tree will actually come back. It should be on its original roots. Unlike apples, you never know what rootstock they put them on. But I'm gonna see how it's going. It is getting some flowers, but I'm thinking after this year, this tree's gonna have to come down. You can see right here where the fence fell. What happened is during the winter, I leave the gate open so I can access the well, because that well has to be pumped on a continuous basis or it'll clog up. And that's the water I usually use to get my animals during the winter, but we really don't have permanent animals anymore. But anyway, they obviously couldn't find a way to get out, so they charged right through my fence. So I've got to fix that. And I did see them bedding down in here and things, saw their poop. But again, nothing. What I think I'm going to plant in here this year, and I always change my mind. Normally I start about 100 to 200 tomato plants, but since we don't eat as many tomatoes, and they are high maintenance, I didn't start that many. So they'll be good in here. I grew garlic on both sides here, nothing in the middle. Oh yeah, I did parsnips in the middle. So green beans, I'll plant a lot of those because we like those. I typically use bush beans, and then I'll plant tomatoes in here, and probably peppers, because this is a nice warm area, gets a lot of sun. The soil's the best the soil I have in any of the gardens. Pretty much the same story here in the orchard garden. Put a lot of straw down, still have a lot to do. Got my manure out of the coop because we got the meat birds in there. Planted a handful of different seeds, see if they germinate. Onions doing real well. Pinks are coming back. Elderberries, again, kind of slow come back, but they're starting to grow back. Planted some Swiss chard in here. Those are from seed. Potatoes are just now, you can see, I planted 2 rows, finally coming up. I was kind of getting worried. I always do that, I worry, and they always do get up. This is my German purple striped garlic. I'll save a lot of the bulbs once we harvest it for next fall, because these are big, nice cloves. You get about 4 or 5 in one bulb, unlike the California garlic. So, but all the fruit you can see blooming. Bees have been busy. Mold chasers are working. Have not seen a whole mound for a long time now. These are just ornamental trees. They're called winterberry, non-edible to humans. But other than that, I'm caught up in here. Ooh. Today's going to be planting day for me, mostly seeds. These are just now starting to bloom like chokeberries. These are really prolific. One of our favorite fruits. Very astringent, but very, very good in smoothies or whatever. Plum trees coming back nice. Cherry trees already bloomed. This greenhouse we purchased used and did a major rehabilitation on it because it's basically falling apart. I'm not going to grow too much in here this year because we want to be out doing other things. But there's a few things. I got some peppers that I had to store by. I don't like doing that, but you got to do what you got to do. Mine are just now coming back to life. I did my plum tomatoes in here. Of course, I can plant them here because they will be protected from any late frost. And it's about 85 degrees in here already. It's 10:30. Got a lot of volunteer deal, but other than that, I'm not going to plant too much. Put some marigold flowers down, and that's about it. Little less maintenance. The only thing I've planted in this greenhouse garden is mosquito. 4 rows of small rows of potatoes. Wanted to spread them out. My coneflowers are coming back nicely. And I also planted some onions. And I'm finally done planting onions. I don't know why I go crazy starting onions every year. I love onions, but it's just, they can be high maintenance. So once these potatoes, I just did that about a week ago, once they start coming up above the ground, I'll put some straw down. And our trees are coming really nice. Most of these are crabapple trees. These are 3 years old this year, doing really well. But other than that, what I'm going to be planting mostly in here is our root vegetables: carrots, rutabaga, parsnips. If I choose to do parsnips, I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I'm doing parsnips this year because I got still quite a few in our root cellar that need to be eaten. So other than that, we're kind of at a standstill until everything starts flourishing and getting things in the ground.
The boat feels legitimately sturdy, and it'll get you out on the water, I think. And definitely, the only thing that is like useless on this thing is it has a footrest, and they don't fit where they're supposed to go. It seems like the bottom wasn't put on right. Everything on this seems a little moved to the right, including, in fact, I'm sure it is. It's just not set up right. This is supposed to be in the center, this Velcro strap, and you can see it's not in the center. It's just not. Everything's like moved. See how it doesn't line up like that? That's supposed to line up, and it doesn't. So that kind of leads me to believe that the runner in the back here probably won't line up either. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Something's wrong. And this is a footrest, and it doesn't line up either. It's supposed to go under these little straps, but even if you put them under the straps, it wouldn't hold. First minute that's gonna come right off. Okay, all right, here we go again. This turns into another It's Always Something episode. Now, yeah, I sort of cut the sound on this because after I was really happy with this inflatable, less than $300 kayak. I really was, and it was going to suit my needs just fine. Look, I know it's a bottom end kayak. I know it's not like the top grade. I know they're rated in different grades and things like that, but I don't need a big top end type of inflatable. This is what I need, just something like this, something for occasional use, and then something for occasional use only during the summertime. And this would have suited all my needs. It was rated 4.5 stars, for Pete's sake. And it's an Amazon's choice. And it was right there, and I just wanted to like it. But here, the doggone... It's a manufacturer defect. The floor of this doggone kayak is just glued wrong. They glued the doggone bottom... You can tell in a hurriedly fashion. It's not usable. I thought the boat looked a little bit thin. It was long, but it was thin. It wasn't wide like it should be. And that's when I started looking, and I noticed that I turned it upside down and everything else, and I noticed that everything appeared okay, except the seats weren't lining up with the Velcro, which made me inspect even closer. And then I found that they had glued the inside liner with a big, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 inch flap in it. In other words, they didn't glue it flat. They just screwed it up. So, yeah. Okay, back to Fleet Farm I go with it. I returned it. I didn't even look for another one in Fleet Farm. I went over to Costco and I looked at theirs, and theirs looked really, really cheap. Even cheaper than the one that I took back. So I don't know. I still am wanting an inflatable kayak, so I think maybe today I'll renew my search. Today being tomorrow. So, yeah. Oh, anyway, on the bright side, everything is looking really, really nice here in North Minnesota. Everything is just so green and just so picturesque. The adventure continues. So, God bless everybody, and we'll see you again soon.